Best body now, 5 simple steps. So if you're working out or if you're driving, and just listen, take it in. I'm going to do my best to deliver these direct tips and strategies to have your best body now, and lay out the 5 simple steps. If you are sitting around and you have a pen and paper, you may want to take some notes, because there may be some things you want to write down that doesn't, because you may forget. Some of these things are not, they have to take a little while before they stick in the mind sometimes. Not everybody. You might be a fast learner. I don't know. But writing things down can really help connect your memory to it. So just throwing it out there. So first things first, to have your best body now is to have a clear, specific goal. So let's do a little exercise. So first things first is, say for example, let's say we have a realistic magic wand, and you could wave the magic wand, and you can have your body, your health, your energy, any kind of way you wanted it to be between now and this time next year. What would that be like for you? Consider being clear and specific. Now, a great place to start with being clear and specific is to have a specific body weight and a specific body fat percent, right? And we can go deep down the hole and talking about a blueprint, clear and specific, everything dialed down. And I want you to have that. Consider starting with a body fat, a clear body weight goal, and a clear body fat percent goal. Now, how do you start with this? How do you know where you're at with your body fat percent? A couple of ways to do it. If you have access to a doctor that has the right scan, my doctor, every 6 months, we do a scan. It's called a DEXA scan, and it measures everything: total body mass on your right arm, your left arm, left leg, body fat percent, body hydration, all kind of stuff with all kind of measurements. It's really fascinating. But there's a little hack to figure out how to just figure it out online without any cost, just doing a little legwork. Go online, go to Google, search men's and women's body fat percentages images. You can say images, and then you can click images. And then a lot of times it'll lay out from lean to body to heaviest, obese. So very, very, very low body fat, like competitor body fat, to like the worst case obese scenario, right? And then all in between. So you can look at yourself and say, hey, just say you're a male and you're looking at it, and you can say, hey, I see that based on the picture here, maybe I'm at 20% body fat. And your goal is to be 10% body fat. Just say, for example, right? So that's how you can get started with it. That's a good way to just kind of get a handle on, getting a clear goal, because I want to encourage you. That is the first thing to consider when being on your fitness journey, is to have your best body now, is to have that clear, specific goal. Have that clear, specific goal. That's the number one thing you can do. And then backing it up with the 5 steps, they're very simple: exercise, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, and mindset, right? So those are the 5 things I wanted you to write down. If you're writing things down, so have your goal, have a clear, specific goal, a body weight goal, write that down, and a body fat percent goal, write that down. So you know exactly what it is you want to achieve. Then write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5 simple steps: exercise, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, mindset, right? That'd be the next thing. Now, let's break down training for a moment. So when it comes to training, I encourage you to consider having both cardiovascular exercises program and strength training program. Have both, right? Now, imagine for a moment that you have a twin engine airplane, 2 engines on the airplane. One engine is cardiovascular engine, one engine is strength training engine, right? Ideally, we want to have both engines going strong on the airplane, right? So that's going to give you the best performance, right? So, for example, and there's a lot of ways you can do it. There's not just one way. Even the way I do it isn't just the way, but I love my way, but you find what you love to do. But combine, I encourage you to have a combination of strength training and cardiovascular training. But for me, say, for example, in the morning, I'll do either a half-hour steady state cardio where I just get my heart rate up at a steady state and keep it there for 30 minutes. Or I'll do a 20-minute HIIT where I go every minute or every 30 seconds, I'll do a 10-second boost, right? So now that's ideal. We want to have both engines going. And then in the afternoon, I'll do strength training. So I encourage you to have a combination of strength training and cardiovascular training. That's going to be very powerful for you. Now, when it comes to strength training, if you're interested in strength training and getting into the gym situation or working out at home or, strength training, building your muscles, building our muscles is one thing a lot of people believe that is very important for longevity, is having muscle on your body. So when you're building a good muscle building program, consider following the 5 principles of training, which is proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles, and consistency. Now, let's look at proper form. Why would proper form be important? Well, if you think about it, if you do the improper form, you're going to get hurt. And then if you do the proper form, you're going to get the most benefit from the exercise. Now, a lot of people don't do the proper form. So if you're on your journey, I would encourage you to take on a study of proper form. So if you're going to work out, look at the workout that you're going to do the day of. You see your program for the day. You look at, maybe you have 7 or 8 exercises there. And then maybe look at the example on the app or online and study the form. Watching videos of proper form, and a lot of times I like to watch different people do the same exercise, because then you get kind of a different take, because not every exercise is really done the same way. I mean, so there's general principles, but then you'll see when you watch other people other professionals do the exercise, you'll see some different variations of the form. But just consider making sure you have proper form so that you're activating the right muscles and so that you're not getting an injury. Right? So when building out a proper program, make sure you do proper form, then make sure we do variety. Now, why would variety be an important part of program? Why is that? So variety is important for lots of reasons. Can you think of why that will be important? Well, a couple of things to think about is, one is our bodies. You ever heard of a plateau? This is the biggest reason I want you to consider variety, is because ultimately, if you work out long enough, say several months, and you do the same thing over and over again, your body will generally reach what's considered a plateau, right? Where you just kind of reach it and it's hard to get to the next level, right? But by changing it up, doing different things, doing different exercises, different rep ranges, sometimes high, sometimes low, different speeds of the movement, what's called tempo. So maybe 5 seconds on the way down versus 2 seconds on the way down. All kind of ways to add variety. Number 3 is intensity. What comes to mind when you think about the power of intensity with an exercise program? Well, let's look at it for a moment. With intensity, say for example, say we're doing chest presses and say we're going for 12 repetitions and we're getting to 9, 10, 11, and 12. We barely get that 12th repetition, but we get it. Now, what's the most beneficial part of that set? The first few reps or the last few reps? Well, be the most likely be the last few reps. And why is that? That's where the challenge is, right? So it's 13, 14, barely get the last few. It's the last few reps that really make the difference. So consider really challenging yourself, getting those last few reps and pushing yourself, because that's where the muscle ignition gets turned on. And then it's through the rest and nutrition that the muscle grows back more and adapts and becomes more muscle because of that stress you put underneath it. Does that make sense? So we talked about proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles. There are several different training principles, and you can just look them up online or ChatGPT, and like compound sets, drop sets, supersets, circuit training. There's just a lot of ways, and that can also help you include variety into your program. But if you've never done it, you have to understand it or work with a professional, and people can just kind of coach you through it, right? But they're a lot of fun doing different training principles. Don't be afraid to try them. Step out, and just go for it, right? But have a plan. Have a plan. So we talked about proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles. Last but not least is consistency, right? So what's so important about consistency? What's the power of consistency? So say for a moment, say that we have you, and say if we have a twin of you, and say if you want to, we're gonna have a friendly little competition. We're gonna go for 1 year and see we're gonna meet back and see who's got the best progress, right? So you start off, you work out, 4 days a week, 4 times of cardio, 4 times of strength. You eat 80 plus or 90 plus % clean. You get your rest 80, 90 plus % of the time, your sleep. Now the other person starts out the way, but then misses a workout here and there and misses some meals, eats some extra little processed foods here and there. So at the end of the year, who's going to have the best results? Be the most consistent person, right? Exactly. So the power of consistency. I could go on and share with you lots of reasons how important consistency is. I'll just say one more thing. The results, I feel like when people if you're watching this and you never have results on an exercise program, I encourage you to give it, at least 3 months, 6 months, at least. A year would be the best if you would commit to 1 year of just exercising and eating healthy. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just healthy, right? Cut the junk out the best you can. It doesn't have to be all the way out, but just do what you can, set up and just go for it for a year. I think you'll just stick with it, because at some point you build up such a momentum and it feels so good, you just don't want to ever leave that feeling again. So, and it's the power of consistency that gets you there. A lot of people don't get to that. I think working with a trainer, like I've noticed in 12 weeks, if someone's motivated and they're getting coached, you can do ridiculous amount of progress in 12 weeks. But, if you're just learning on your own, I would give yourself 1 full year and just eat healthy, set up a program, follow it, and just be consistent. There's going to be bumps along the way, but just stay with it. So consider that in mind. So we talked about training, Nutrition. Now, let's talk a little bit about nutrition. There are basically 4 different ways in which eating, I feel, affects our bodies. Metabolism, our energy levels, our insulin levels, and our blood sugar levels. So imagine for a moment that we want to build a 2-story house from scratch. And imagine that we only have half the materials necessary to build the house. How far are we going to get? Probably part of the way, halfway, right? So the foods that we eat on a daily basis are the supplies that goes towards building our bodies, like the food, like the supplies necessary to build that house. Does that sink in? The food that you and I eat on a daily basis is what builds our bodies, right? If you want a lean, healthy body, realize everything you're eating every day contributes or takes away from that. I encourage you to go into it with an open eyes, open mind, open eyes. Now, what types of food? Now, let's think for a moment. Imagine, well, just to simplify it, I'll tell you, and then I'll give it a story. Generally, whole food, plant-based foods. Whole plant-based foods, right? So about 50% fruits and vegetables, 25% whole grains, and 25% plant-based proteins like legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds. Now, imagine for a moment that we want to build a fire in the fireplace. And on one hand, we have a stack of oak wood. And on the other hand, we have a stack of paper. Now, not including, kindling and getting the fire started, but if you had to choose between the oak wood or the paper to burn in the fireplace consistently all day long, not counting getting it started, but just the consistent burn, what's going to give us the most consistent burn all day? The wood or the paper? Most of us would choose the wood because it's going to burn longer, slower, steady burn, right? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds, and delicious, healthy smoothies. And you can make all these things taste great. And I hope you do. So that's nutrition. Let's take a look at recovery. The number one thing almost everyone can do to improve their health the most is to get quality sleep every night. Approximately 7.5 to 9 hours sleep, at least 2 hours REM, 2 hours deep. That's the several different standards show that. 3 different neurologists that I've talked with, that all their studies have reflected that. And then there's another guy called online, very popular right now if you want to review his material. His name is Brian Johnson. Name of his Netflix documentary is Don't Die. He was doing some podcasts, and I was just getting some intakes, seeing it outside the documentary. And he was just saying the most people could do that doesn't cost a whole lot, it's sleep. It's something everyone can do, and that will get the biggest return on your health. So I encourage you to optimize your sleep. Go for that full sleep. Just block it in. That's what I do now. I schedule a start time and a finish time. So my start time, I schedule 1 hour prior to that to get off the blue screens. I really quite minimize that. I don't get off them. I put the blinders on when I sleep, but I cut off almost all of the blue screens an hour before sleep. And then sleep time, I put the screens on and go for that 2-hour REM, 2-hour deep. And I haven't been using a measurable, but I'm considering it. So, because it's really hard to know, but I've been working on this for months, and I can just tell, when I get it, when it's going well, how healthy and strong and vibrant I feel the next day, especially in combined with eating and exercise. It's very powerful. So I encourage you to check it out. All right. So that leads us to, so we talked about 5 simple steps for your best body now. Is being on an exercise program, eating healthy, getting your rest, supplementation. Number 4. The big 3 is exercise, nutrition, recovery. Supplementation, it's there, and I feel it can be about, it can help, and for everybody it's a little different, but it can definitely level up. I feel, for me and for most people, a good supplement program can level you up. So there's a lot to be said for supplements. I basically break supplements down into 2 basic categories of supplements: nutritional supplementation and enhancement performance supplementation. So nutritional supplementation is more like a delicious smoothie. I have a chocolate peanut butter smoothie by Planta that I just love. It's plant-based protein. I mix it with almond milk and some ice, and I feel like I'm cheating. It tastes so good. And you can add things to it, other peanut butter, add whatever you want. It's chocolate peanut butter just by itself. So, but that's nutritional supplementation. I'm getting protein and other nutrients in with that. Then there's enhancement performance supplementation. I would say an example of that will be creatine monohydrate. Another example of that will be any prescription from a doctor. If you're someone over 40 and you're doing hormone replacement therapy, I would consider that. Or you're doing the semaglutides that's going around, I would consider that in the supplement category. Remember, your basics for true health and fitness, I believe, is exercise, nutrition, recovery, then supplementation, and then last but not least is the mindset. So imagine for a moment that we want to build a big, beautiful resort building, and we have this big crane out front. It's a really tall crane, and there's a box in it, and there's a person in it controlling the crane. That's a good analogy to the brain and the body. The person in the box is like the mind, and then the crane is the body. In our case, our mind controls our bodies is the point. So consider that our minds, yours and mine, controls our bodies. And with fitness, I encourage you to consider this affirmation / prayer. It goes like this: I am happy and grateful now that I am. And then you state what you are. How I phrase it, I'll share with you mine. I am happy and grateful now that I am at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. That's the basics of it. I have further things that I say, but that's the basic structure. I am happy and grateful now that I am at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. See, that's very clear and specific. I want to at least be 190 pounds. At the same time, though, I want to be at or below 10% body fat. Doesn't mean I can be 195 pounds and 20% body fat. That's not my goal. So it's very clear and specific. I want to be, now it says at least 190 pounds. If you listen to my language, I'm happy and grateful now that I'm at least 190 pounds. I could be 195 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. I'll be okay with that. All right. That's the phrase. I'm pushed up the goal to, I am happy and grateful now that I am at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. That's very clear and specific. So what is yours? I hope you're writing it down, or if you're working up, you're saying it. If you're working out or driving, just verbalize it. And that's the thing. I'll break it down real quick, the phrasing of this and why it's so important. I am happy and grateful now that I am, and you put in your goal, right? So I am let's just break it down real quick. I am is a very powerful statement, right? I am is a very spiritual statement, very strong, very powerful. I am happy and grateful. Happy, very, very good feeling. Grateful, what I understand, I should learn more about happy, but we all like being happy. I am happy and grateful. Grateful is a very high level. Is different feelings have vibrational levels, right? Or different emotions. Gratefulness is, if not the highest, it's one of the highest level of vibrations of energy. So you're saying, I am happy. I am happy and grateful now, right now. It says in the present. You're putting yourself in the present tense. You're visualizing the goal that you're shooting for, right? But you're putting yourself in the present tense. I am happy and grateful now that I am, and you fill in the blank. I'll keep going over it time after time. I hope that's sinking in, because if you use it to your advantage, especially in the fitness realm, for me, it helped me achieve a lot of, in the bodybuilding world, winning different competitions. One last thing, and I'll let us go. Speaking of that, and that's where I got it from, was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Probably heard of him. Was many, many time Olympian champion, and he would see himself up on the stage winning the competition months before it ever happened. And that's what I want you to consider doing. I want you to see yourself as you want yourself to be. I want you to see it right now in the present. I want you to visualize it now. And then I want you to be happy and grateful right now that you are that which you say you are. That makes sense? It's a little tongue twister-ish, but if you let it sink in, it's very, can be very life-changing for you. So consider that. And my goal is to come at you every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be blessed. And remember that our health is wealth. Health is wealth. And my YouTube channel will center around fitness and finance. So if you're curious, subscribe and click the bell for notifications. I'm passionate about both. Both are important. Some people say that money's not important, but my mentor says, well, it ranks right up there with oxygen. So I think we all know money's important. So I like discussing different things about it. But ultimately, health is wealth. That's the thing. Health is wealth. Our earthly possessions are, they're great, but our health is wealth, right? So I encourage you to go forth and have your best body now by having a clear, specific goal and backing it up with a good exercise program, eating healthy, getting your 7.5 to 9 hours sleep a night, your 2 hours REM, your 2 hours deep sleep every night, supplementing intelligently, and having the right mindset, saying your goal every day. I am happy and grateful now that I am what you say you are. Be blessed, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.